It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
All right, everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to react and have a discussion about a video from DaBrownie titled How to Not Get Tunneled. So I feel like we're really going to get into something pretty interesting today. And yeah, I want to hear what the explanation is for how not to get tunneled. Because I feel like maybe a lot of people might actually be looking this up. So I'm interested in hearing about it. And let's get into it.
Wanted to make this video to show survivors why you might get tunneled, why it might be your teammates' fault and there's nothing you could do, or RNG's fault and there's nothing you could do, or it's your fault and some things that you could do to change it. Now, this actually happened to be all three of them. So let's go to the start of this match. Already, I'm not feeling it because it's on RPD and I have half of my power. I can't do R.
I gotta say right off the bat, I'm a massive fan of how we're framing this because there is a lot of reasons why this could happen to a player, and there's a lot of reasons on both ends as to why it happens in the first place. You know, I can obviously offer an explanation for the killer side. Obviously, you know, a lot of the time it is not about the player themselves. It's mainly the fact that they are trying to look for efficiency. Using tunneling as a strategy is the most efficient way to play the game on the killer side, because if you can remove a player from the team, that means that there's less pressure that can be applied from that team. So, of course, it's not personal at all. I know that there might be a lot of players that may think it is, but it purely is not. Obviously, like I've also have acknowledged in the past, there are people that do take their time out of their day to directly look for people and just tunnel them out, but those are isolated like situations. Those are just like very specific situations that happens. In most cases, I think that it is misrepresented in a lot of ways. So let's go ahead and continue.
I can't do snipes, I can't do long range or even hardly medium range shots, I can't do orbitals or anything like that. So I'm just a 110 killer who can do short close range shots. I noticed the Meg uses dramaturgy to pre-run me, and that's a very bad sign because dramaturgy means she's a very meta based survivor. But thankfully I find this Nancy here, and she didn't pre-run at all, and I do get an injury on her and a down pretty quickly, but she will be my only hook before I brutally tunnel.
As you can see right off the bat, Brownie here is literally telling us one of the reasons like why like somebody may be utilizing strategy, right? In this instance, we have a map that is very anti-huntress, right? So in that instance, you're like, well, this is not going to be a good game. I'm not going to be able to use most of my power. I'm going to have to play as well as I possibly can to be able to keep up here because I'm limited in my tools and I have to be able to be just as efficient as the survivors can be in this situation. So in this case, this is where we start the game from. So it makes complete sense.
Out the Jeff. Now, I don't have any things against Jeff. I don't hate the guy. It worked out this way. So we'll go ahead and fast forward to where I hook this Nancy and I follow the aura reading from a gen kick to this Jeff, right? So I hit him, bing, bang, boom, with an M1 right here, and I throw him up on the hook. Right, I follow this aura reading for this Meg.
I want to make sure I really point out and emphasize that, as you can hear, nothing against the Jeff. There's nothing personal that we don't like. I've said many a times, we don't know these people. You know, we don't know who the hell they are. We're just trying to play the game. We're just trying to get a win because we just like, you know, everybody wants to win. Everybody likes winning. We play competitively in DVD. That's what everybody does. So, of course, I just want to make sure we emphasize that because that's an important point. I feel like a lot of the time, like within somebody's anger and frustration, they really just are not seeing reality clearly. So, good to point that out.
And I think she's going to take the vault. She doesn't take the vault. I end up running into a Thalita. Right? The Thalita makes a pretty big mistake right here, right? So the Thalita makes a big mistake and runs to the opposite side of the map. Now, I don't blame her for this, but she's running to the side of the map with 2 generators. 2 generators and very, very strong god pallets. Let's look at this one more time. Let's look over here to the Thalita. She's trying to bait the chase. You see her aura right here. She's trying to bait the chase. There are 2 generators over here. There is 0 reason for me to go over here at all whatsoever. And there's plenty of god pallets on this side of the map. Now, I don't take the chase for that reason. She probably doesn't know that, so I don't entirely blame her for that. So I'm not going to put the fault on her. But look at this. Look at this. Watch this. Here we are. What? This is the unhook notification still going off. Jeff is walking towards me. And
so I want to pause it again because look right here. Like we're discussing once again strategy. If we're trying to play strategically as we can, and mind you, there's no slowdown in this build. So we have to, if you're running no slowdown whatsoever, with no activations on how to actually, get your perks to do anything, right? Like barbecues just based off of hooks. You either kick gens and you get nowhere to hide, and then you hit somebody and you get gearhead, right? So all these things are centered around just aura. And obviously on top of that, we're playing on a map that also prevents Huntress from using a good majority of their power, right? So no orbitals, long shots, anything fancy. It's purely just like up close. You might have to be able to like throw it. And in this instance, there's only 2 gens on that side of the map. So there's no incentive to really go over there and try to chase somebody in that direction and then end up losing the gens behind Huntress. And then you pretty much just end up losing the game automatically from that. So if you're playing strategically and you're not trying to just kind of play for fun or whatever have you, or however you want to frame it, in this instance, of course, and you want to play strategically, this is the way to do it. You have to focus on where the gens are so that you can actually be able to provide some pressure.
Meg is running all the way to the back side of the map next to that generator. That is literally so far away. It takes me probably 20 seconds to run all the way over there. Jeff is getting himself tunneled in this instance. This tunnel is Jeff's fault entirely. And a little bit of Meg's, because Meg should be doing at least a little something, trying to emote to him, wave to him, be like, come on this way to heal. He should be following her instinctively, but at the end of the day, he's just unfortunately not.
I 100% agree with DaBrownie here. I 100% agree. Because if the Jeff had any sense of the map knowledge, he would have understood, okay, well, the only entrance to get into the library is from that side over there behind the shelves. So I need to go toward the unicorn statue area. I need to get as far as I can and try to be able to connect outside onto that balcony section, maybe jump off and try to go in another direction. The Meg would have to then go toward that direction in order to gain, to get the attention of the killer so that it can lead him away so he can be healed and he can be brought back up to speed so that he can start to push the gens. So this play right here is a massive mistake on his end, and he's not understanding the map whatsoever, despite how simple it is to understand that it's only one way in to that area. So
smart enough to realize his mistake. So I follow the aura reading. I follow him. He's injured. He's the only one injured. He's the only pressure I got. I know I'm at 5 gens, but I hate this map. I'm not doing this shit. So I down him, and he hits me with a decisive strike. So now I don't feel bad about tunneling at all, because he got off for free. He can get a lot of value out of that DS if he plays it right. Unfortunately, he doesn't play it right, and I end up, well, I was gonna say I end up downing him. I don't, because he dead hards. So even though I outplayed him 2 times in a row, he still escapes for free. And I'm all out of hatchets, so I have to leave. Now look at this. We drop chase at 255. Watch this timer. I drop down here just to push them off this generator because I really don't want to lose this one. If you lose the main gens in the main hall as Huntress, it's over. You lost the entire match. Look at this. 30 seconds later, and Jeff Johansson is still in deep wound. 30 seconds later. I hit the deleter with the hatchet. I kicked the gen to start it regressing again because they just stopped it from regressing. And then look at this. I go up here to check this gen, and what?
I want to pause it right there because I wanted to hop in and kind of point out why the discussion around decisive strike and dead hard is usually pretty negative in a lot of ways, and that's also why I've always said that the perks like decisive and dead hard are mainly for players that are not necessarily good at their game. Because of the fact that we see the Jeff make a massive mistake, and he had two perks that brought him right back to life, essentially, right? He got downed because he made a mistake. Oh, there goes the decisive strike. So Huntress throws the hatchet because, okay, you just made you just took a blunder and you messed up in your chase now. and then they just dead harded and ate the hit, so now they can run off again. It's like that in itself is not great. It doesn't seem like you're really being rewarded as a killer player in that sense for capitalizing on players' mistakes when they have a comeback mechanics like those. You could say, well, mechanics not entirely accurate. I'll just say comeback perks, and that's what a lot of our focus has been when we talk about second chance perks, when we talk about this game in general, and why like a good amount of players are saying that the survivor end gets a lot of hand holding, and that in itself is a good example of that.
We have Jeff Johansson mending his deep wound at the top of the stairs by a generator in the main hall. Again, another instance of him getting tunneled himself. What would any survivor with any common sense, any brain do in this situation? They would go back to the back of the map and work on a generator by themselves. You stay as far away from the killer as you can while completing your objective, staying injured. But for some reason, he comes all the way to the main hall towards the terror radius.
So I want to hop in as well and point out once again, Jeff is making yet another mistake. That is, count it, 3 mistakes already. 3 mistakes, which without the hand holding from the perks he already had equipped, he would have already been down and hooked again. Now, this is why a lot of people say like there is a lot of hand holding going on, and this is definitely an example of that. Now,
start mending his deep wound. Again, any of you survivors watching this, you should just know this. Do not do this. You go work on gens, remain injured, work on gens. Do not run towards the killer, right? So again, the Meg ran early. No, like not really even early. I was like 6 meters away. I don't blame her at all for running like that. And I just go after the Jeff because the Jeff is injured and Thalid is going to a side of the map that I don't give a shit about. And Jeff makes another mistake and runs to basement. I have no idea why you would run here of all places. There's a god pallet that he could drop that he doesn't. So we hook him and I decide I lose a generator. I know I'm going to lose this generator as well because it had a decent amount of progress on it. It's just a matter of time. So I decide I'm going to 3-hook, or I'm going to just camp him out of the game. Looking for the aura read on the Meg that I got. Cannot find her. I eventually do find her. I don't even want to talk about these misses because she's not even looking at me and I'm missing her, which is very embarrassing. So I break the pallet. She immediately bails out. I check because I have a feeling I don't even hear anything like I usually do. And sure enough, somebody's trying to slide into basement when I'm right next to it. He's got 30 to 40 seconds left on his timer, and you're going to rush in there while I'm 2 feet away. Needless to say, I hit the Nancy, and Nancy makes a huge mistake. Nancy should be running towards me and forcing me to down her to give him as much time as possible. If she ran up to me, I would hit her with my M1 and down her. That would give Jeff almost 3 seconds to make even more distance. I would follow him and hit him with a hatchet, put him into deep wounds so he has to mend himself again to buy myself an extra 12 seconds to slow down, and he would be gone and I would hook her in basement and I'd be in a world of hurt. But no, she gets cold feet. She runs deeper into basement, and that allows me to down Jeff very easily. He tries to dead hard, but he's in deep wounds, so he goes down. And then Nancy doesn't even try to go down at all.
100% true, DaBrownie. I have to 100% agree that was another massive misplay on the Nancy's end. The Nancy's never been hooked this game. I think maybe hooked once, but the Jeff is on death hook. So the best case scenario, you get in front, especially with that speed boost or whatever have you. Try to bait so that the Huntress will go for yourself instead of the Jeff, because you don't want to lose your teammate yet. And you can at least try to flip the pressure just a little bit, because if the Jeff is eliminated, that's pretty much 1v3 at that point, and then that's when it's like a lot harder. But if you were to keep everyone still alive and try to get the Jeff to, give him at least a fighting chance, he would have been able to probably make it out. Now, even before that even happened, the Jeff was already making a lot of mistakes. So I would even say, just off of context clues, he's probably going to make yet another mistake. But I still have to mention that, at least in this specific scenario, considering how we got here, I have to agree, the best thing to do is try to get the Huntress to hit yourself, get in front of your teammate, and try to work together. I want to point out once again, as you can see, they're so this particular player is like so used to having that second chance opportunity, so used to having that, to the point that they literally dead-hearted in deep wound. Like, you literally are unable to have endurance if you're in deep wound. And for some reason they decided to hit the E, even though nobody can like nobody should be doing that. And that is sort of my point when it comes down to the overall discussion, when it comes down to tunneling, slugging, and stuff like that. And this also touches a little bit on the PTB changes. At the end of the day, we can't save bad players from themselves. If they actively are going to choose to play badly, if they're actively going to choose to not learn the game and not understand what mistakes they're making, then ultimately that's not really anything that we can do, even with changes that to the base game, because at the end of the day, it's all about strategy. It's all about understanding what to do correctly. Now, unfortunately, in the DBD community, there's a lot of people that don't look really inward as to figuring out why certain things happen. And I can even apply that to both sides, but in this case, we're specifically talking about the survivors. But if you want to hear me talk about killers, I'll also have something at the end for that as well. But as you guys know, specifically in this situation, the Jeff made blatant mistakes, like blatant, absolutely mind-numbing mistakes that just make no sense. In a lot of instances, as you can see, he was able to make a lot of distance even from the first round, right? Because the second he was hooked and the second he got unhooked, he could have immediately tried to run away or wait until like the Huntress was in a chase with somebody else, or tried to do something more strategic, or even tried to be healed, just anything else, instead of running toward that exit where the Huntress would just run up from the staircase, because that's the only way that the Huntress can actually go up there. So logically speaking, don't go in that direction. Like this, like if you drop down from above, at least you have a much higher chance of survival. Or because if you're using the third person camera, you probably would have stood on the doorway on the side of that big table in the library and been able to probably see the Huntress climbing the stairs, so you knew when to leave the area. And then obviously the second time that they had went down, they never ran away. They didn't go to the other side of the map where the Huntress wasn't to mend and out of deep wound. And then they got downed again, right? They end up in basement. And then we see it again, right? They go down instantly because they are in deep wound. And for whatever reason, they're trying to dead hard. But at the end game, they want to try to say, oh, well, I can't wait till tunneling's not allowed. It's like, at the end of the day, it is a skill issue. So I wanted to quickly touch on that today. Kind of quickly, offer my thoughts on this video and kind of just talk about it overall. If you want to watch the rest of the video, it'll be linked in the description. Go ahead and watch the video and really see the full match and stuff like that. Really, because I think it'd be pretty entertaining. I think that it offers a little bit of an explanation. It really does really answer why some players may be getting tunneled for whatever reason. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Consider checking out the links in the description for ways to support the channel. Consider becoming a member on YouTube or joining the Patreon. And you can also follow on TikTok and Twitch to watch me play Killer live. That being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.